Hello, my name is Mary Gendron. What if I told you that the current system for handling sex offenders in our country is ineffective and other countries have programs in place that positively impact their communities and sex offenders alike? That these programs can save the government money, reduce recidivism rates, and successfully integrate sex offenders into society. What about the fact that your negative opinions about pedophiles could actually be doing more harm than good? Are you intrigued? Perfect. Then keep listening. Recidivism rates remain high for all criminals in the United States, with about 2/3 of felons being reincarcerated within a few years. This shows that the current focus on punishment and not rehabilitation within the prison system does not work. Prisoners are negatively impacted by this because they do not receive the assistance that they need while in prison and leave as the exact same person they were when they had entered. This, in turn, negatively impacts society because the criminal is likely to commit more crimes upon their release. In regards to pedophiles, this is especially concerning because it puts children at risk. Child molesters are considered to be threatening and the most expected criminal to reoffend once released from prison. Studies have shown that they do indeed have high recidivism rates, especially when they abuse children who share their gender. When this population is released, they are required to be on the sex offender registry list as a way to discourage recidivism. But the current recidivism rates actually show that this program has not been as successful at reducing child sexual abuse as it had hoped. With recidivism rates this high, why is nothing being done to prevent the repeat sexual victimization of children in the United States? The recidivism rates for most sexually based crimes are pretty high, ranging between 25 and almost 75%. However, there is a substantial difference between child molesters with male victims and those with female victims, with child molesters who prefer male victims having a 1 in 2 chance of reoffending. That is 50% and alarmingly high. The most concerning thing about these numbers is that they only account for the abuse that was reported, and not all victims come forward, meaning the recidivism rates could potentially be higher. So, why has nothing been done to reduce recidivism rates for pedophiles? The main answer is because of us. Few groups of people are collectively despised, feared, and rejected by society as much as pedophiles. They are seen as being dangerous monsters and child sexual predators who have no morality, and many people believe that they would be better off dead than alive. This group is viewed as being less than human, having no worth in society and being disposable, despite all of the good that they can achieve in their life. Regardless of if they are productive, non-offending members of society, pedophiles are deemed as rampant public enemies that interfere with the general safety of the population, especially for children. Yet they only make up about 5% of the adult male population. Research has found that many pedophiles have not sexually assaulted any children and have no future plans to harm any children, and that only 50% of individuals who are labeled as pedophiles due to criminal child sexual assault verdicts are true pedophiles. Ultimately, the public's fear of pedophiles makes it extremely unlikely that they would support government programs that would benefit these perceived criminals, even though those same programs will benefit them as well. Since not all pedophiles abuse children, they are not all actually criminals. As a group, pedophiles are as hated as they are misunderstood, allowing negative generalizations of them, their behavior, and their prevalence to interfere with the factual evidence about them. Due to the heavy stigmatization that pedophiles experience in our society, many people do not fully understand the definition of pedophilia, that it is considered to be a sexual orientation, how the stigmatization and prejudice affects the pedophile as well as the public, and that there are programs currently working well in other countries to reduce recidivism and to prevent sexual assaults against children before they even happen. This negative stigmatization often leads to the mistreatment and dismissal of civil liberties for sex offenders, making it hard for people to see them as human beings that need assistance. Majority of these offenders want to successfully integrate back into society after they are released from prison, and the public wants to protect their children. Thus, the implementation of rehabilitation programs will greatly benefit both groups. Cost-benefit analysis studies conducted in Australia have shown that incarcerated pedophiles who receive therapy have lower recidivism rates, and the programs save the government money in the long run on both aid for the victim and the expense of reincarceration. Economically, child sexual abuse is the most expensive crime in the United States. Over time, these programs could redistribute taxpayers' money to fund other things, like education or infrastructure. Many of those who work in these rehabilitation programs are volunteers, meaning the cost to run them is not as high as you would imagine it would be. Funding within the prison system could be redistributed as well, allowing for other programs to be implemented, which in turn could lower recidivism rates and provide larger societal benefits. Another major benefit of changing the current system is educating the public on pedophiles and helping pedophiles overcome the negative stereotypes associated with them. This can be done by explaining that it is a sexual orientation and that not all pedophiles harm children, which could help bridge the gap and allow for more understanding and knowledge about this misinterpreted group. Psychologist Michael Sato explains that compassion and non-discriminatory treatment of pedophiles will be the only way to increase treatment and aid in the reduction of children who are at risk for sexual assault. Education will increase the chances that policymakers will include pedophiles as a group that is given protection with the hate crime laws. These laws would validate that all people, even those who are viewed as public enemies, are given protection under the law. Increased awareness will allow pedophiles to have more safety and confidence if they seek out professional help, knowing that they will not be turned away or turned in by their therapist. The more support outlets that a pedophile has, the less likely they are to offend, making therapists a group that needs to understand their important role in helping to protect children. Other researchers have stated it is of primary importance to educate practitioners about stigma and the mental health needs of people with pedophilia, and to counteract unfavorable attitudes towards this group, which a not negligible number of mental health professionals undoubtedly share with their communities. Canada has seen a tremendous reduction in the recidivism rates of pedophiles through their Circles of Support and Accountability program. This program provides offenders group therapy and personal mentors, allowing them to have a support system after leaving prison. Though the participants trust in each other, and after the program, they gain the support that they need to be better people and change their future behaviors. And when they feel temptation and that they may slip soon, they have other members and their mentor to hold them accountable and stop potential abuse. Since it started in the late 1990s, sex offenders participating in the program have reduced their sexual recidivism by 83% when compared to those who did not participate in the program. This program focuses on group support and successful integration into society. In Minnesota, a program based off of Circles of Support and Accountability was implemented in 2008. The program saw reduced recidivism rates and provided an estimated 82% return on investment for the state. Circles of Support and Accountability utilizes almost all volunteers to run their program, has had tremendous success in recidivism, and has been active long enough to provide evidence that groundbreaking programs can really make a difference for the community, children, and pedophiles. So where do we go from here? What can we do to make this situation better for both society and sex offenders? The Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Prisons needs to examine the research and implement these successful programs into the prison and parole systems. Therapists and counselors need to receive training on dealing with this population. Society needs to be told the factual evidence about pedophiles versus child molesters and have the knowledge and tools necessary to make informed decisions about this group. This would be the opposite of our current system of misunderstanding and fear. The proven success rates in reducing recidivism and the financial benefits should be incentives to make the positive change. So what would these changes look like? To reduce the recidivism rates of pedophiles, thus protecting more children, rehabilitation programs need to be established in America's prison system. Studies have shown that programs that combine psychotherapy, such as training for sexual impulse control and medication for testosterone control and addiction, are the most successful at decreasing repeat offenses against children. These combined methods are especially effective when in a supportive group setting. Research on sex offenders' opinions on their treatment revealed that 97% had positive opinions about group therapy and believed that the group support reduced pro-offending attitudes. People who are arrested on child molestation charges receive severe punishments, meaning they are in prison for many years, providing more than enough time to make positive changes in their behavior and ideas about children. Implementing these programs while pedophiles are incarcerated would ultimately be cost-effective, allow for positive reintegration, and would make the children in America safer. Post-incarceration, the United States needs to implement a program similar to Canada's Circles of Support and Accountability as a mandatory condition of all child sex offenders' parole. Circles of Support and Accountability has provided evidence that sex offenders do not always reoffend, and that this model increases the accountability of the offender while promoting community safety. As felons already have parole conditions, it would be easy to add a program that will benefit them and their community. After they have finished their parole, they could still have the option to continue participating in the program if they still wanted to. Programs exist around the world that allow self-identified pedophiles to connect with a support group and provides them with treatment and other help that they may need. Most notorious is Germany's Pedophile Project. Programs like this allow the pedophiles to feel like they belong to a community, have the support they need, are not judged and ridiculed, and have people to keep them accountable. Posting ads online and through referrals will help discover the non-offending pedophiles and will impact their lives for the better. Another way to find this hidden population is through advertising, like this ad from Germany that says, "Don't offend, there is help, free of charge and confidential." The feeling of belonging to a community of people who understands them and their desires will decrease their odds of abusing children. It is important to allow pedophiles the opportunity to belong to such groups because of the many benefits that come from participation in them. Although this method is very controversial, allowing pedophiles access to porn could help reduce the number of children who are sexually assaulted. The pornography does not have to have actual children in it, but would instead have adults who look and act younger. This would mean that no actual children are harmed or exploited, while still providing pedophiles a sexual outlet. A study found that 61% of people who watch child pornography are sexually attracted to children more than to adults. This means that pedophiles do seek out porn, but can watch legal porn with adults instead if it seems like the actors are of a younger age range. Allowing pedophiles to watch child porn in the Czech Republic produced lower rates of child sexual abuse. The pedophiles can get sexual gratification in their own homes rather than seek out children for sexual relationships. Majority of self-identified pedophiles watch child pornography and could be impacted if they were allowed to consume it without the fear of imprisonment, as it is considered to be illegal if the actors seem underage, even if they are not. This is a huge missed opportunity in the reduction of child sexual assault, and with a few policy changes, could potentially have tremendous success in helping children and pedophiles alike. The high levels of recidivism for those who sexually abuse children is far too high in the United States. Yet, nothing is being done to change these rates, as the public stigmatizes pedophiles and does not want them to receive help, and instead wants the focus to be on punishing the offenders. Punishment only does nothing to rehabilitate the sex offender, and they leave prison the same person they were when they entered. It is important to provide treatment programs and therapy to the offenders while they are incarcerated, and to require them to participate in mandatory programs upon their release. Evidence has shown how effective these programs are in reducing recidivism rates and how cost efficient they are long term. These programs need to be implemented within the criminal justice system now, as there is no excuse not to. No more victims should be our shared goal. One way to eliminate the extreme bias towards pedophiles is to encourage positive thoughts. Research has shown that it is possible to reduce prejudice against certain groups of people if you imagine positive experiences with them. If people imagine non-threatening experiences with pedophiles and understand that not all pedophiles molest children, there is the potential to drastically reduce the stigma that pedophiles have. Encouraging healthy interactions between non-offending pedophiles and the public is another great tool for bringing the community together and reducing bias and prejudice. Ultimately, positive interaction and thoughts will benefit both the pedophile and the community, as there will be a decrease in the children who are sexually assaulted. So let's try a quick exercise that can potentially make an impact in the lives of others. I want everyone to close their eyes and imagine positive interactions with pedophiles. These positive interactions could take place at the grocery store, the mall, the gym, at church, anywhere. These pedophiles can be strangers, neighbors, acquaintances, whoever. Realize while imagining these positive experiences that these people are actually human beings, just like me and you. That they have lives, families, jobs, values, and beliefs. Imagine that they have never harmed a child and have sought out help from the very beginning of their sexual orientation. Or if they have hurt a child, imagine that it was over 15 years ago. They went to prison and now help other pedophiles successfully integrate back into society without the intent of hurting another child. You can imagine anything you want, but please walk away from this exercise being aware that regardless of your feelings about pedophiles, that they are people who deserve protection under the law and a shot at a normal life. Now go ahead and open your eyes, breathe for a moment, and remember that you do not have to contribute to the stigma. Thank you.